So the last thing I just wanted to ask you was, what words of wisdom, thoughts did you want to leave with our listeners today? I know we talked about sales process, we talked about leveling up, we've talked about, you know, a bunch of things, but what would you want to leave our audience
Yeah, so I'm going to tell a story because we kind of been dancing around this topic, but I think I have a story that can really hit the point home very well. So in 2018, when I was a crappy insurance agent before I had the really good year, at the end, I was sitting with this guy in November, and right before it was like the week of Thanksgiving, and he was a top producer. He did really well, and he had just closed like 30,000 over a weekend.
Nice.
And I was like, that's unbelievable with insurance. That's good. That's great, right? And like, I'm like, dude, I barely closed 3,000 in a month. Like, and you did 30,000 a weekend. And he was like, he flew in to, I'm in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Mhm.
He flew into Dallas Fort Worth and did it in my hometown where I live. This is like my stomping ground, right?
Oh,
And he like,
wow.
then he flies out. And I'm like, dude, what's the secret, bro? What's the secret? And he was like, well, let me ask you some questions, Greg. And he was like, hey, man, how's your lead flow? When's the last time you bought leads? How's your dial days? How many appointments are you setting? What trainings are you going to? Um, how many appointments are you actually sitting with a week? And he's like basically asking me about my fundamentals.
Mhm. Yep.
I answer all of them. And when I answer them, I'm kind of tap dancing. I'm like, well, I got this. And well,
Yep.
I went to some training the other day and blah, blah, blah. Like you could tell I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's like, Greg, I know what your problem is. I was like, what's that, bro? And he was like, you think you're special and you're not.
Mhm.
And he was like, the reason that I do what I do, I'm not special either. I follow the fundamentals. I go to training. I go to every single training call. Whether I think I know it or not, I go because I can always learn something from somebody. I buy the required amount of leads every single week, regardless of if I sell the previous week, because it forces me to do the work.
Mhm.
I do the amount of calls I need to do to set the amount of points I need to set. I treat my business like it's a business, not like it's a hobby. It's like, for instance, like we used to dial that company, we used to dial on Thursdays. That was a dial day because we would set appointments for 48 hours for Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
And this coming Thursday was Thanksgiving. He was like, for instance, Thanksgiving's this Thursday. You know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be dialing people. You know why? Because they're home and they're off.
Yep.
And I'm going to use that as like my boss is making me work.
Oh, that's
Please have
brilliant.
pity on me. And he was like, but it's going to work. He's like,
Yep.
how many people are going to not call on Thanksgiving because it's Thanksgiving? They got to spend time with their
99% at
family.
least. Yep.
He was like, they don't take their business seriously. He was like, I do. He was like, so I'm not special. I just do the work. And that was what resonated with me. I was like, one, this guy's got some balls because I was like, he's like I'm kind of cocky, and he was like,
Mhm.
he's like, dude, I know what your problem is. You ain't special. And I was like, man, this guy's got some balls.
Yep.
And but he was right. He was right. And I wasn't doing the work. And when I started doing the small things and I started paying attention to the fundamentals and I started doing it's funny when you start doing the actions, it's like it just happens. But you have to have enough trust to like throw yourself all the way in
Mhm.
to understand like it's going to come back and have no expectation of when it's going to come back, but it will come back. And just continue and not quit because it's like building up a pipeline. Sometimes it's just going to explode. It takes time, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, I love that. Like, that's what I teach people. That's what I've done in my sales career. Once I figured that out, I'm like, holy crap, I don't have to be the best closer. I don't even have to be the best at the process. I just have to keep showing up and
yeah,
putting the work in and touching people. And then your numbers just go up. Now, definitely train, definitely learn, definitely level up. I appreciate that. Where can people find you at?
yeah. So you can find my podcast on YouTube. It's under YouTube. It's Delta Financial, but it's the Be the Difference podcast. On Apple Podcasts and Spotify, it's Be the Difference podcast. You can find me on Instagram. I'm Gregory A. Birtch _. I think I'm just Greg Birtch on Facebook. Facebook, I'm completely maxed out. You can follow me, but I can't because I have a business
Mhm.
account, but it's maxed out with my connections. Best place to follow me, honestly, is Instagram. So I put most of my content.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Thank you again for being on the show. I very much appreciate it.
Yeah.
We just did a masterclass on sales. If you take the simple things that we mentioned right now, you will be successful in sales. If you need help,
Definitely.
feel free to reach out. We can help you, but this was definitely a masterclass. Share this with anyone that's in sales, business, entrepreneurship. They need to hear this episode. And if you could drop a comment, like, review, that would help me out as well. And until next time, put the work in. That's how you win. Have a great day, guys.